Hi, Brent Haiti here, Executive Life Coach with Entrepreneurial Freedom. Earlier I posted a quote that said, never get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life. And a big part of making a life, I think for a lot of people, is simply how you live your day by day actions such that you can be happier, you can be healthier, and you can be more fulfilled in doing all that you do, whether that's at work in your business or whether that's away from it in any number of things. And creating happiness, living at ease, and living in the flow of what works for you and your family is something that speaks very much to your core values. Now, do you know what your core values are? Not a lot of people spend time thinking about them, but I think if you do, you start to see where you're living in alignment with them or where you're not. So for instance, if you have a core value centered around respecting others and being considerate of others, for instance, and that's important to you, and you can tell yourself, I value this. I think this is how the world ought to be. And in your mind, in your life, and in your world, that's very important to you. Now, when you start to see other people out there that aren't living in alignment with that value, it bothers you, right? It starts to get you ticked off in some respects. It might get you angry or frustrated or maybe just disillusioned or disappointed. And you may have some influence to be able to help that person or those people shift or change in that, but you may not. They might be complete strangers and it still bothers you. Well, then we have some choices. How do you choose to act, interact, create change, influence, or simply take your direction away from and not necessarily interact with that person? On the other hand, when we think about our core values, and let's use that same example again, respecting others, being considerate of others, it's perhaps even more powerful of a lesson to learn when you yourself are not living in alignment with what you value most. So when you catch yourself not being considerate of others, I mean, it happens from time to time, but generally speaking, that's the way that you want to live. You start to get a little ticked off. You beat yourself up about it. That's when you can have so much more control over what you can do, what you can say, how you can show up in the world. So my challenge for you right now is to start to get in touch with what your core values are. What is important to you in this world? How do you believe that you and others ought to show up in this world and be? Then start to look at how it's currently showing up in your world. Are you living in alignment or are you not? If you're not, now is the time to create some change. And when you do, you'll probably find that you will live more happily, more joyfully, with greater ease, and perhaps with greater fulfillment as well. That's all I got for today. Talk to you again soon.